All right, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 5:02, and let's start with roll call. Commissioners present, I, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney here.
Nick Cap is here.
David Walter.
Okay, other staff present?
Doris Sims, Hand Department.
Brent Pierce, Hand Department.
Okay,
Christina Finley, Hand Department.
Alex Crowley, Economic Development.
okay.
Larry Allen, Legal.
All right, let's go to the reading of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for December 21st, 2020?
I move to approve the minutes for December 21st, 2020. Nick Kappas.
Okay,
Cindy Canarney seconds.
all in favor? I, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
Motion carries. Next, we'll have examination of claims. Is there a motion to approve the claims registers for December 24th, 2020?
This is David Walter. I'll make a motion we accept the claims.
Cindy Canarney seconds.
All in favor? I, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
None opposed. The motion carries. Examination of payroll registers. Is there a motion to approve the payroll registers for December the 18th, 2020?
I move approval payroll registers for December 18th, 2020. This is Cindy Canarney.
Nick Kappas,
David
second.
Walter. Okay.
All in favor? I, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
None opposed. The motion carries. Next, we'll have report of officers and committees. Is there a director's report?
No, I don't have anything to report. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Is there a legal report?
No report at this time. I'm also happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there a treasurer's report? I think we don't have a treasurer today, do we? No. Is there
I think we do.
is there a CTP update report?
I do have an update, if I can spend a couple of minutes. This is about the economic or the EDA grant, the Economic Development Administration grant. If you remember, we submitted a grant at the end of September, a grant application for the Trades District Technology Center. And we were, and the RDC kindly put forward $1.9 million as part of a local match against a requested amount of upwards of around $6 million from the federal government. We received notification about 3 weeks ago that the EDA was able to fund $3.5 million. So not the 6 that we asked for, but 3.5, which is a pretty cool, achievement. The problem is it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because we have a building that was designed against a budget, and we are now $2.5 million short of that budget. So we're faced with a pretty aggressive schedule that requires us to let the EDA know what we want to do probably within about 30 days or so. So we're scrambling right now, and we're trying to figure out what the options are going to be, including about 4 or 5 different options. I'll just lay them out for you. One is an option where we can somehow figure out how to secure philanthropic monies to fill the gap, the missing $2.5 million. A little bit of a Hail Mary, but that we have some ideas on that and are trying to pursue those. Second option is where we shrink the building from its original size down to something that fits within that $5.5 million total. The EDA has indicated if we don't materially change the concept, that would not shrink their contribution. So we could maintain that funding level from them and try to come up with a way to shrink the building. Another option would be to take the concept and put it in a potentially a different building. So one that came to mind that we're looking at closely is the showers administration building, and looking at the possibility of rather than doing a new build, doing a renovation. That building belongs to the RDC, so obviously we would need your consent on that. But that's an option we're taking a look at right now. That could either be within the current structure or with some sort of addition to that structure. All of which would need to fit into the roughly $5.5 million we'd have to play with. So obviously that's going to take a fair amount of work to look at that and try to understand it better. There's still a small possibility that there might be an ability to condo out part of the building, but that's really complicated and it's not typical according to the EDA. So I think that's a highly unlikely scenario, but that's one that's out there as well. So where we are right now is in a position where we are trying to evaluate each of those options, possibly pursue multiple ones at the same time. We probably would not pursue both a downsize and a renovation because in both cases we'd be shrinking the building. So we'd probably want to pick one or the other. We'd have to make that determination quickly. But we don't want to shut down the possibility of filling the gap using other external funding. And so we're going to be looking at that pretty closely here. That's the situation. Again, we don't have a lot of time to play with, so we're going to be on a mad scramble here for about 30 days, trying to sort out what our response is going to be. But to the credit of the application and the team that put it together, $3.5 million is nothing to sneeze at. So that was encouraging. We just have to figure out how to leverage that as best we can.
Congratulations. Right? That's a lot of hard work.
That was a lot.
Very, very, very quickly. Done very, very quickly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Oh, just put in a comment here of the options he's listed. I like the idea of renovating the showers administration building. I've been in and out of that building for years. And if an elevator and stair tower were added, then we'd have a lot of usable space. And I think the community would respond well to that type of a project.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we actually took the lead architect through it New Year's Eve or the day before, and he was very excited by the building. I mean, it's a beautiful building, and for those of you who've been through it, that it has a lot of potential to it. So it's not in terms of a plan B, it's not a terrible plan B at all. We just have to figure out quickly what's it going to take to do that, and do we want to go and pursue that option?
Yeah, I can tell you right now, McCullough School over there on 10th Street, they're doing something very similar with Schmidt Associates to install an elevator and stair tower to connect the older building, the brick building, with the one to the north. And I'm looking at the budget, it's 6.1 million. So that includes an elevator and stair tower similar to what you might be looking at there, plus complete renovation of the building, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, all that. So it gives you kind of a in the ballpark thing.
Alex, what's the difference in square footage between the current design and the admin building?
Well, it's a complicated question because you've got common space versus leasable space, and the two really don't align terribly well relative to the two buildings because you sort of designed one from the bottom up. But at a macro level, it depends again on whether you use the basement in the admin building. It's an open question, but roughly speaking, it's about 2/3 of the space if you were able to kind of use all of it. But in reality, if you look at the new build, that actually only had about 19,000 square feet of leasable space. The rest of it was shared space and open space. So it's a little hard to compare the two together. It would be a downsize, absolutely be a downsize relative to the original concept. The question is, can we still pull off the concept closely enough to be able to justify, continuing with the grant?
Yeah, I remember there was a lot of open space and shared space, so I didn't know how it equated with one another. Because I've been in the admin building. You were kind enough to take me through there once upon a time. And I think that would be, I would love to see that building renovated.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, very exciting. Yeah, very cool. Do we have any other questions or you have anything else to share with us on the CTP? Nope, we're good. All right. Thank you all for your contributions to your reports. Thank you. Let's go to new business. The next item of business is the election of officers. How do we do this? How do you guys want to do this?
This is David Walter. I could make a motion that we keep the same officers we had last year, which I believe Don Griffith's president, I'm vice president, and then we have Secretary Cindy.
I'm okay with that, but if someone else would like to have an opportunity to be the president, then I'm open to that too. Okay.
Wait, not that I want to be president. I'm just curious, what are the roles of president beyond this meeting?
It's mostly like there's a lot of
You get to sign your name a lot.
you get to sign your name a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
typically
maybe
the
Larry
president-
can
okay.
address this question, but as president of the redevelopment commission, it does involve signing your name a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you will be over, so any of the decisions that are made by the redevelopment commission and requires redevelopment commission approval, it requires the signature of the president. I don't think we have too many meetings outside the normal meetings where the actual other members of the redevelopment commission are present. So do you have anything else you want to add, Larry?
Nope, just to say that the president's the official signatory typically of the RDC, obviously chairs the meetings. When the president is absent, the vice president would take over. It's a pretty much, that's the role of running the meetings and then being the official signatory for the RDC.
And
Okay.
you don't have to be pretty because you see I'm doing it.
Now, Donald.
I think you've done a great job at it. I think that realistically, I've been 6 months on the job here. I don't know if that qualifies me to be in the running for it, but I am interested in it if I continue to be, appointed by city council. So I think I'm okay with moving forward as is, unless Don, you don't want to do it anymore, then I'm more than happy to step up. But I think you've been doing a great job.
Well, thank you. No, I love doing it. I just
Okay.
I don't want to be a ball hog. And everybody is all capable. I mean, I can't. I mean, basically, you guys make it easy. So there's so much knowledge here, and I think we make a good team. So
I think so. I think that we can continue forward in 2021 with the same officers as is, because I'm good. And, I'm about to do the CBDG community block grants from the social services side. So that's going to be
Okay.
really good experience for me.
okay. All right. I guess there's a motion.
I would just note that we haven't heard from Cindy if she would like to continue in her role as secretary. So we may just want to check with her.
The ball hog's always making decisions for me. So no, I'm fine to continue in the same role.
All right. All right. So I guess we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Cindy Canarney seconds.
All those in favor? I, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
None opposed, so the motion does carry.
Well,
All right.
I want to thank everybody for their service and for the officers for their continued service. As you know, we do have one vacancy because Eric Sandwise, I got it right this meeting. Eric has resigned from the board. And so I do know it's a mayoral appointment and they're working on a replacement for him.
He will be missed. He was awesome. So hopefully they get someone that that is also a strong ally there. So, all right. The next item of business is Resolution 21-01, approval of the 2021 RDC meeting schedule. Who wants to talk in regards to this?
Well, pretty much the meeting schedule is put together every year by Christina Finley. So thank you, Christina. It shows the meetings of the RDC for the calendar year of 2021. Whenever there's a holiday that falls on a Monday, then that meeting date is moved to the following Tuesday. And so this is every year it's required that you adopt your meeting schedule. And so this shows just your meeting schedule for the calendar year 2021.
Okay. I'm going to quickly ask the public if they have any input or questions in regards to Resolution 21-01. And if not, then do any of us commissioners have any questions in regards to Resolution 21-01?
This is David Walter. I'll make a motion to accept Resolution 21-01.
Nick Kappas seconds.
All those in favor? Aye. Don Griffin.
Cindy Canardi, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
None opposed. The motion does carry. The next item of business is Resolution 21-02, approval of maintenance for RDC owned property.
So I can briefly talk about this. This is an annual resolution, again, first of the year thing. So the RDC does own several properties around town. Those require payment of utility bills and maintenance requests. And if any of those are under $5,000, this authorizes staff to go ahead and pay them. However, if any utility bill comes up over $20, the staff must inform the RDC at the next meeting of that particular bill. This is taken out of not the consolidated TIF account, but this is specifically from a revenue account that the RDC receives through rentals of its properties. So for instance, for the College Square property, any rental money we receive from that goes into the 444 account, which then gets expended through maintenance of that building and also upkeep of cleaning staff and landscaping, et cetera.
Hey, Larry, what is the 444 account? This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, so it's just what I just described. So it's separate from the consolidated TIF. It's specifically any revenue that the RDC receives otherwise. So from rental income is primarily the source. It goes into the 444 account because it's not restricted in the same way consolidated TIF is, because consolidated TIF cannot be used for maintenance of those properties. This is a separate account that allows us to use it for maintenance.
So is this like a profit account based on the properties we own?
It's not really a profit account since it all goes back into the properties more or less, but yeah.
Okay.
It is a revenue account.
Why is it called 444 then?
It's called the 444 account because that's the code within the city system that the account is. So it's just become shorthand for what that account is. The full account number is, I think, 444 15,000. And then it depends which particular fund it comes out of, but it's just a nickname for the account.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the public in regards to Resolution 21-02? And nope, we don't have anything. Any other questions from redevelopment commissioners?
Just a comment here on the College Square. When I look at the claims, of course, we had several different tenants. We've got a bunch of individual electric meters, gas meters, whatever. And originally, I think we did not plan on having that building that long. But I was wondering if there's any movement towards maybe consolidating the power, water, gas, utilities for that building so we don't have to pay so much in utilities on that. And it's just a question, maybe that goes to Alex and to investigate and look at. But, it might cut down our costs of maintaining that building if we don't have a lot of tenants in there.
So one of the reasons why those are separated out is kind of what we took over, the historical arrangements and the lease agreements for each of the tenants. So under the lease agreements for the College Square building, technically each of the tenants is supposed to pay on a quarterly basis a certain maintenance fee, more or less, for their utilities, phone, et cetera. And the leases are a little bit different because they're made at different times originally, and we kind of assume those. So some of the tenants have that agreement, some of them don't, which has made it basically impossible as long as we have those lease agreements in place. And as you'll recall, we did amend some of those lease agreements to work with the timing that we had. But it makes it impossible for us to consolidate some of those bills since we have to keep them separated out. But that is something we're always working towards and trying to come up with new ideas, because that has created an administrative burden for the city to also juggle, not just the additional cost of paying those individual bills, but the administrative cost of handling those individual bills. So that's something we're constantly working with and trying to work with Grant Properties, who is our property manager there on site, to try to consolidate those as much as possible. But we'll be happy to take another shot at it and see if we can consolidate, certainly for cost savings. I know we did do that, we were able to do that for trash pickup. That was one thing. They had separate trash bins for the different tenants, and we were able to consolidate with a new contract. So it's something that we're continually looking at and are sensitive to.
And that particular building, of course, I think the convention center question will affect, really how we think about that building, including, there's a tenant space to the south. So we just have to figure out, first of all, what's the long-term convention center question. But to Larry's point, not only micromanaging buildings, but also looking across the portfolio of buildings that the RDC currently manages and looking for ways to become more efficient and actually more effective in managing those buildings is one of the items that we're working on in the first quarter of this year.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, wait, for Mary Moore, let's see. Let's see what we got here. We've got a message from Mary Morgan, just a heads up that the agenda packet for today's meeting wasn't posted. At least they couldn't find it, so it's difficult for the public to weigh in. Hopefully it can be posted retroactively. That's a question.
So just two quick clarifications. So anytime the public comments, that's going to be general comment, but I'm happy to answer that question since Mary had reached out to me ahead of the meeting. We noticed that it wasn't posted on the website. It usually does get posted at the same time the agenda does. I don't know if the holiday messed it up. That's something I'm going to be following up on to make sure it's posted retroactively and posted in the future. So.
Okay.
Hey, Larry, it was posted with the packet. It always posted with the packet. It's not on there individually. So when I go onto onboard and I post that, it's actually attached to the packet.
Yeah, Christina, we could follow up on it. It's just the regular the meeting page where you would normally go to, where it usually is copied over. For some reason, with the shift to 2021, it's not copied over automatically.
Oh, I see.
So that's something we'll just address as soon as we can.
Okay.
Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't know if it was something a question in regards to resolution 21-02. So sorry about that. No more questions. Do we have a motion for resolution 21-02?
This is David Walter. I'll make a motion to accept resolution 21-02.
Cindy Canarney seconds.
All those in favor? Aye. Don Griffin.
Cindy Canarney, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
No opposed, so the motion does carry. The last item of business is Resolution 21-03, approval of the lease amendment for New Hope. Who would like to speak in regards to this resolution?
Philippa Guthrie, Corporation Counsel. So these are leases that relate to the New Hope properties that we talked to you about that were transferred to the RDC in the hospital district area. They're all on 2nd Street. We assumed the leases for those buildings. They include housing for their operations, their administrative offices and things like that. And these are amendments to the leases that we assumed, which technically expired November 30th, but we agreed with New Hope that they were just going to stay in place. So they remained in place, but they needed amendment, primarily for the term of the leases. So we wanted to extend the term, and we negotiated a term that would end at the end of March in 2022. Because that we won't probably be ready to build until around then, and possibly later, it's hard to tell. But in the meantime, they need more time to remain in place because they are working on getting their new location, and it will be sometime late next year before they'll be ready to move at all either. And they also have a daycare center, which it's not easy to move a daycare center. If you move it, you have to relicense at the new location, et cetera, et cetera. So we negotiated through the end of March 2022, and they were very happy with that. And then it goes to month after that, and we'll just see how, where we are at that point. The other changes relate to things like very technical things like who gets notice for them, who gets notice for the RDC or the city, and then some parking issues. So we would ask that you approve this resolution, adopt this resolution to put these amendments in place.
Okay, any questions from the public in regards to resolution 21-05? Okay, I don't see anything. So any questions from the redevelopment commissioners?
I have one question about section 2.1 where go to 2022 and then a monthly basis, but if it goes to a monthly basis off of that, how do we ensure 90 days notice of intent to terminate if it goes month to month, I guess?
Well, we would have more of an idea of a timeline for the hospital site and whether we're going to use those properties. So we're not concerned about that. I don't think so. I mean, presumably we would know somewhere in the beginning of 2022, certainly way more than we know now. Right now, we have no idea what, where we will be. So if they have to carry over another month because we run out of time to give them 90 days, we'll just have to do that. We didn't want to make it shorter than 90 days or
no, you can't because of the daycare, and you can't do that.
Right.
Accreditation takes a while. So I appreciate that. That we worked with them like that. I was just curious about the 90-day differential. That's all. Thank you.
Well, in legal, we try to keep track of those things. So we would be constantly putting ticklers in our calendars, on a month-to-month basis.
Oh, for sure.
I'm guessing that if, they were able and wanted to move prior to March of 2022, we would be flexible with that. And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think both parties have been very flexible. It's a good working relationship.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a motion?
Cindy Canarney moves approval of resolution 21-03.
David Walter will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye, Don Griffin.
Cindy Canardi, yes.
Nick Kappas, yes.
David Walter, yes.
None opposed, so the motion does carry.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any business or general discussion that we need to talk about, or are we ready to adjourn?
I would just quick question. Doris, is this your second to last one? Is the next one your last one?
Yes. So the next meeting, which actually will take place on Tuesday, January the 16th, as you can see, because you're scheduled, because Monday is a holiday, will be my last redevelopment commission meeting.
I volunteer Nick to bring cake.
I was gonna say, like, who's bringing the cake and the pizza and all the tissues? Because we're all gonna be crying.
Okay. We might have to. We might have to make that happen somehow.
Somehow,
even though we're not together, we might have to figure that out. How we can do that.
Well, you could just send it to me, and I'll just eat it in front of everybody.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
That's
All
generous,
right.
Doris.
good plan.
All right, we'll figure something out. So, all right, y'all. I guess we're gonna adjourn the meeting. Hey, Larry, is there an official way that I need to be adjourning these meetings? Do we need to do a Robert's rule type thing?
The typical way, yeah, we would follow Robert's rules, so it'd just be a quick motion to adjourn the meeting. That's the classic way of doing it. However, you can, as a board, you can also decide on the method that you would like to use to adjourn the meeting. So if everybody's fine with Don just dictating when a meeting ends, that's okay.
Ball hog, then dictating. Oh boy, what did we do?
I will note before we end, some of you probably received an email from our department just about your bonds. So that's an important thing we have to do every year. So make sure you get in and sign your bonds for the following year service.
Okay, so how do we do that? Is City Hall open for public now?
By appointment. So Nikki Moser in our office has been coordinating that. She can arrange a time to have that waiting for you. If you don't feel comfortable coming in, we'll seek out alternative arrangements to make sure that you can receive your oath and it can be notarized.
Larry, has she already reached out? Because I haven't gotten any reach outs.
Yeah, I know for David and you, Cindy, she did not have your email addresses, so I just provided those to her. So you should be getting them shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, all these new people on the board, they just don't have email.
All squared away, guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
They can find you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, y'all. Meeting is adjourned.